This is a demo.
My photo taste is the Pinterest, because they are the best.
6 Minute English.
From bbclearningenglish.com. Hello and welcome to 6 Minute English. I'm Catherine.
And I'm Neil. Do you realise, Catherine, that we are related to each other?
Don't be silly, Neil. I think I'd know if you were in my family.
Well, we'll talk more about that later in the show, but I should say at this point that today we're discussing genealogy, or the study of family history, and I think it's pretty fascinating stuff. Do you ever watch the TV programme Who Do You Think You Are, Catherine? You know, where celebrities find out about their family history.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of them. For example, one celebrity who was very proud of his working-class London roots or origins discovered that he's actually a direct descendant of an English king.
Well, that's quite a discovery. The thing is, though, Catherine, what if there isn't anything exciting in your family history? No mysteries, no skeletons in the closet?
Well, I reckon if you go back far enough, Neil, there's always something exciting or unexpected in anybody's family history. And skeletons in the closet, by the way, means secrets. Now, I think it's time for today's quiz question. Researching family history often involves reading old documents such as birth, marriage and death certificates, and these can be difficult to decipher or understand. So, what's the name for the study of ancient handwriting? Is it A, scriptography, B, paleography, or C, scribology?
Oh, well, it must be A, scriptography.
And we'll see if you're right or not later on in the show. Now, why do you think most people look into their genealogy, Neil? Is it just curiosity?
Well, Catherine, we all love a good mystery story, especially if it's connected with our own family. And these days, it's easy to do research online because many old paper documents have been digitised and are available online.
BBC presenter Mike Williams investigated his own family history, and here he's talking about his great-grandfather's story. And if you listen very carefully, you can hear him rustling the real paper documents.
The Williamses on my father's side, and on my mother's, the Heinos. It's a name that we think comes from Finland. If I look at this document here, it's a copy of the Census of England and Wales 1911. You can see my grandfather, the son, and his father, the head of the household, Michael Heino, or Mikael Heino, who, the family law has it, jumped ship and ended up in Liverpool.
What's a census, Catherine?
It's an official count of people in a population. So, Mike Williams's great-grandfather appeared on the 1911 census for England and Wales, but because of his surname, the family think he might originally have come from Finland.
The exciting event in Mike Williams's history, passed down through family law, which means knowledge passed on from one generation to the next, is that his great-grandfather jumped ship.
Which means he left the ship he was working on without permission to do so.
And he started a new life in England. I suppose quite a few people have immigration stories in their family histories, sometimes without knowing it.
Actually, that's something that many people are fascinated by, and has also become easier to investigate these days. Now companies offer to test the DNA in your saliva for as little as $100.
And then they come up with results saying you're related to Alexander the Great or Brad Pitt. Remember I said that we were related? Well, let's now listen to Else Churchill from the Society of Genealogists here in London, who explains what I meant.
There is what you might call the gateway ancestor in the idea of history and genealogy. That's normally somebody that's so well documented that their descendants are well known. In England, it's something like Edward III. I mean, we're all probably descended from Edward III. Isn't it nice to have royal ancestors? Well, millions of people are descended from Edward III. And so in that sense, that's where the connection might be. So the chances are an awful lot of people are distantly connected to each other.
Else Churchill says it's likely that millions of us are distantly related to a gateway ancestor like King Edward III of England. And that means that all those people related to Edward III are also distantly related to each other. So it seems that paying a company $100 to reveal that you're related to Edward III is a waste of money.
Yes, in the sense that it's you and millions of other people. And in fact, we're all related to each other somehow via Edward III or someone else.
And another popular finding for British people is to say that you're descended from the Vikings. And again, this is true for lots of people, so it isn't particularly meaningful.
If you're descended from a person or a group, it means they are among your ancestors.
Now, remember I asked, what's the name for the study of ancient handwriting? Is it A, scriptography, B, paleography, or C, scribology?
And I said A, scriptography, and I'm pretty confident that's the right answer.
Well, Neil, you're pretty confident, but unfortunately it was wrong. The correct answer is B, paleography. Paleography is the study of ancient and historical handwriting, including the practice of deciphering, reading, and dating historical manuscripts.
Oh, well, here are the words we learned. Genealogy, roots, skeletons in the closet, decipher, census, family law, descended from.
And that's the end of today's 6-Minute English. Don't forget to join us again soon. Bye.
Goodbye.
6-Minute English.
My photo taste is Pinterest because they are the best. Flick to link, a link to flick.
So sacrifice your desire to be right or safe all the time. It's not helping anyone, least of all you. Sacrifice your ego. Soap opera lesson 3, evolution is real. You're not meant to be static characters. On television, static equals boring and boring equals fired. Characters are supposed to grow and change. Now on TV, those dynamic changes can make for some rough transitions, particularly when a character is played by one person yesterday and played by someone new today. Recasting happens all the time on soaps. Over the last 20 years, 4 different actors have played the same key role of Carly Benson on General Hospital. Each new face triggered a change in the character's life and personality. Now, there was always an essential nugget of Carly in there, but the character and the story adapted to whomever was playing her. And here's what that means for us. While we may not swap faces in our own lives, we can evolve too. We can choose to draw a circle around our feet and stay in that spot. Or we can open ourselves to opportunities, like Carly, who went from nursing student to hotel owner, or like Julia Child. Julia was a World War II spy. And when the war ended, she got married, moved to France, and decided to give culinary school a shot. Julia, her books, and her TV shows revolutionized the way America cooks. We all have the power to initiate change in our lives, to evolve and adapt. We make the choice. But sometimes life chooses for us, and we don't get a heads up. Surprise slams us in the face, you're flat on the ground, the air is gone, and you need resuscitation. So thank goodness for Soap Opera Lesson 4, resurrection is possible. In 1983, Days of Our Lives, Stefano Demira died of a stroke, but not really, because in 1984, he died when his car plunged into the harbor, and yet he was back in 1985 with a brain tumor. But before the tumor could kill him, Marlena shot him, and he tumbled off a catwalk to his death. And so it went for 30 years. Even when we saw the body, we knew better. He's called the Phoenix for a reason. And here's what that means for us. As long as the show is still on the air or you're still breathing, nothing is permanent. Resurrection is possible. Now, of course, just like life, soap operas do ultimately meet the big finale. CBS canceled my show, As the World Turns, in December 2009, and we shot our final episode in June 2010. It was 6 months of dying, and I rode that train right into the mountain. And even though we were in the middle of a huge recession and millions of people were struggling to find work, I somehow thought everything would be okay. So I packed up the kids in the Brooklyn apartment, and we moved in with my in-laws in Alabama. 3 months later, nothing was okay. That is when I watched the final episode air, and I realized the show was not the only fatality. I was one too. I was unemployed and living on the second floor of my in-laws' home, and that's enough to make anyone feel dead inside. But I knew my story wasn't over, that it couldn't be over. I just had to tap into everything I had ever learned about soap operas. I had to be brave like Erica and refuse to surrender, so every day I made a decision to fight. I had to be vulnerable like Stephanie and sacrifice my ego. I had to ask for help a lot of times across many states. I had to be adaptable like Carly and evolve my skills, my mindset, and my circumstances. And then I had to be resilient like Stefano and resurrect myself and my career like a phoenix from the ashes. Eventually, I got an interview. After 15 years in news and entertainment, 9 months of unemployment, and this one interview, I had an offer for an entry-level job. I was 37 years old, and I was back from the dead. We will all experience what looks like an ending, and we can choose to make it a beginning. Kind of like Tina, who miraculously survived that waterfall, and because I hate to leave a cliffhanger hanging, Tina and Cord did get divorced. But they got remarried 3 times before the show went off the air in 2012. So remember, as long as there is breath in your body, it's never too late to change your story. Thank you.
Flick to link, a link to flick.